Hi everybody, thank you for tuning into this screencast. Today we're going to be talking about integration testing with Capybara and RSpec. First, I'm going to give you a background on what we're talking about. Then we're going to go into a live code demonstration where I'm actually going to show you some real code. Then, after that, we're going to go to some advanced syntax of Capybara itself. And after that, I'm going to give you a challenge for you to go out and do. To give you a little background information about Capybara, we need to start with Cucumber. And what Cucumber is a way to write integration tests for your application that you can give to your client, and your client will then know how the application is supposed to work. And obviously, if those tests are failing, then it's not working correctly. Or if they're able to do something differently, then you need to go back and rewrite your tests, or look at how your tests are written. If you look at the syntax, it's very human readable. User creates a project. So that I can interact with a project as an authenticated user, I should be able to create a project. I mean, that's very readable. The problem with this is when you move to managing those different files. Okay, so for one Cucumber feature, you may have three, even more different files to manage for that one feature. Starting with your step definitions, you may have, just one step definition, or you could have multiple ones that coincide with one feature. You also have your paths file, and your paths file basically just defines all your paths for that specific feature. You also have your environment file, your env.rb, and this one sets up your environment whenever you need to run Cucumber. So I started thinking, there's got to be a better way than Cucumber for my own projects that I'm not delivering to clients. Wouldn't it be nice to only have to manage one file for each integration test? Light bulb. It turns out there is. Enter Capybara. And yes, that's actually a person walking a capybara. Kind of weird, I know. Capybara started with what was called WebRat, and basically you could write these interactions with your application, and you wouldn't have to actually go perform those. Everything was automated, so you can go run through your whole application without having to do it yourself. And so Jonas Nicholas actually built Capybara on top of WebRat, but in a nicer way, and he gives you really a better DSL and a better way to write these interactions. So why Capybara? Well, chances are if you're using Cucumber, you're already using Capybara because it's the default now instead of WebRat. It also has a very intuitive DSL or domain-specific language, which I will show you later. And also the newer versions of Capybara integrate very easily with RSpec, as opposed to how it used to be when you had to plug in Stake to be able to use Capybara. It comes out of the box, it's very easy. So let's go ahead and jump into a live demonstration. I'll show you some code. First off, in the gem file, we're going to go ahead and put in Capybara. And what we want to do is we want to go ahead and grab the Git repo, because this one gives us some nice new DSL, or domain-specific language to be able to use with Capybara. Okay, then we'll go ahead and bundle, install those dependencies, and I'm gonna open up user creates a project, which is the name of my feature file. And with any spec file, you always require spec helper, so that should take care of all your dependencies and everything. And you can see with the new DSL for Capybara, basically you're still writing with using features and scenarios, like you did with Cucumber, except we don't have to keep defining different stuff for our natural language. So you can see feature user creates a project, do scenario successfully creates a project. So it's still very readable, and it's a lot like the Cucumber stuff, except for the fact that we don't have to do all the extra work to be able to get it to do what we need to do. So you can go visit root path, click link projects, click link new project, fill in name with foo, fill in description with bar. And you see, really, we're just telling the behavior that we want to happen. So these are all the steps you would go through in the normal application. We'll go click button, create project. And the last thing we're going to test is just, does the page have like a flash message or something like that? So a page should have content. Project was successfully created. Bundle exec RSpec, spec integration, user creates a project spec.rb. And I'm going to go ahead and throw in the documentation flag so we see how nicely it prints out. And you can see, user creates a project, successfully creates a project. It's all there. And it's throwing an error basically telling us that when we define root path, we haven't defined it yet. Or when we called root path, we haven't defined it yet. So we're going to go ahead and go back into our routes.rb file and add in our root path. And I'm using the Ruby 192 syntax. So if you're on 187, you can just change it as you need to. And run that again, and we get uninitialized constant pages controller. So basically, we need a pages controller. So we'll just generate that, and I'll go ahead and generate the index action as well. We have no link with title, ID, or text with projects found. So let's go back into our index.html.erb file and we'll just go ahead and add in that link. So link to projects and projects path. Run it again. And we have undefined local variable or method projects path. So I'm just going to go ahead and scaffold the project, just save us time. So Rails G scaffold project name string description text. That should give us everything. If we run it again, we'll basically see that we need to migrate the database. So let's go ahead and do that. And always make sure you always make sure you prepare your test database after your migration, otherwise you're going to get errors that you won't be able to debug easily. Alright, so we'll run it again. Let's see what we get. And we're passing. Let's go ahead and start up our server and we can go and check out the application and see what happens. So projects, new project. Fill in name with chunky and description will be bacon. And go click on create project and there we have it. Project was successfully created. So basically what we've done is we've written our integration test using just Capybara and RSpec, ran it, used the test to define our application's behavior, went back and kept running until we were green. And you can see there's a lot less overhead with doing it this way than there is using Cucumber. So let's go to the advanced syntax. As I told you before, Capybara has a very intuitive DSL, which I showed you a little bit of during the screencast. Let's start with form interaction. So choose a radio button. That's what you want to do. You want to choose a radio button. Very easy. Check a checkbox. Also very, makes sense. Attach file, image, and path to image. The nice thing about this is you can actually upload images from your computer without having to do it yourself. So it checks the image upload, and if it works, then you're running well. Select option from select box. Again, it's very simple. It's what you want to do in your application. You just say it. Nice and easy. Capybara also gives you a way to scope your application. So let's say you want to interact with a form that's inside of a list item with the ID of employee. Well, you can do that using within. You can also do within table, and it's going to look for the table with the ID of employee. That's it for the advanced syntax. Let's go on to the code challenge. Basically, what I want you to do is I want you to go out in your next application, if you have, say, Cucumber steps written or Cucumber features written, then I want you to go ahead and convert those into using Capybara and RSpec. Just try it out. It's actually a lot easier than you think. And if you're not using Cucumber yet, go ahead and pick up Capybara by itself. It's really easy. This screencast has been brought to you by Code School. And what Code School is a way to learn coding in your actual browser. It's really nice and easy. You don't have to download anything. You can just go there and you can learn Rails or Rails best practices. There's a nice thing called Rails for Zombies where you can actually kind of play a game almost while you're learning how to do Ruby on Rails. It's really fun, and I would definitely recommend it if you're looking how to get into Ruby on Rails. Again, I want to thank you very much for checking out my screencast. If you want to get in touch with me and you maybe ask me a question or whatever, you can always get a hold of me. My website is broadmac.net. You can also find me on Twitter or GitHub at emacnic. And also, if you want to shoot me an email, go ahead, emacnic@broadmac.net. Thank you very much again, and have a great day.